I just wanted to very quickly, but possibly a crossover between the old KISS formula, keep it simply smarter in my world, or getting into a little bit more of a technical understanding as well. So I understand a lot of people watching this or listening to this can be either non-technical or technical, so I'm just trying to sort of cross the two boundaries, or the two skill sets is probably the better way to say it. But look, what we're really trying to achieve here is that in today's world online, there's so many people that can be in effect almost grab your email address and actually start to send that out as an alias of your name, so you can start to lose your reputation, or your digital reputation, and that's what we've got to sort of start to be aware of. So in here so I'm following through, is it really you sending? We could be an alias, you could have your desktop version, you might be sending via Outlook or what have you. You've got different web systems like your SmartForce Plus system, or Odoo for example. Email service providers like we're using Gmail ourselves. You might be using the likes of Office 365 and all those different online or digital services. But then you also have your mass mail providers. Now these two are different in that these are the mass mail providers are actually designed or have very special servers that cope with a huge amount of traffic, whereas your day-to-day email service providers probably only allow somewhere in the order on average of around about the 250 emails per day. So if you've got a list of 3,500, 4,000, or even 100, I know people with lists up to 1 million people. So that's where these email service providers come into the game. But really what you're doing is you want to be starting to send out your mass mail via your domain. So in here typically you would be sending your name out via such and such a person. So from your brand and your reputation and what you're trying to achieve, we felt here at SmartForce Plus that the smart way was actually to start your manage it via your own account. So anything going out might be blah blah blah, your domain name. So what we're trying to do here is just make you be a little bit, trying to help you be aware. Now technically, when you send an email out from any one of these portals, we need to get a verification process happening, and that verification process is really in a digital space or online. There's all these what I'll call checks and balances happening, and it's going through all of these verifications. It's checking this, it's checking whether your domain, whether any of these are actually allowed to send or been approved to send via your domain. And really, if you can just, it's almost like a game of squash, or a game where the ball's just getting smacked left, right and center, and all of these things are actually being reviewed by your email service provider. Now if any one of these comes back and shows a negative, it could actually start to end up in the spam box. In fact, it could actually just not go anywhere at all. So it might just not arrive. That's the harsh reality. So while we set up outgoing mail and it'll all verify and test okay, if all the DNS and the blah 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 technical stuff, which has sort of got to be set up here, isn't configured correctly, basically your email provider will say, hey, we don't agree, this isn't a trusted resource, we're not going to have your message read, we'll just stop it here, and it'll just stop inside here and go no further. Alternatively, it might slip through and it'll start to end up in your spam box. Now I'm certainly one of the people that if you're sending a message to me, 100% I would not receive your message. I do not check my spam box, only unless I'm actually verifying some of the test processes that we're going through. And I know just recently there was a couple of people that I've got a lot of time for, their message had arrived in the spam box, and really that's sort of a twofold. It's one, coming from your service provider, and has your host name actually potentially been blacklisted, and then from there it's also the content that you're starting to put through. So if you're starting to write spam messages, spammy mail messages, then that too will have a huge effect on your reputation and potentially put you into the spam box. Now when we talk about reputation, it's, without going too technical and too long here, reputation is probably more associated to someone else's perception. It's not you. You think you're doing the right thing, you push the send button, and every other system out there says you're doing the wrong thing, and that can be as simple again as your words that you've put into the content. So look, that's a bit of the overview description, and we really want to sort of start setting up our email in our SmartForce or Odoo systems. And what we've got here is myself, I've actually got integrated with Gmail or Google Apps. So we'll send out as Anthony at SmartForce Plus, or I've got a few other accounts set up the same way. And this is going to be able to allow me to share all the information across my multiple series of whether it's mobile devices, tablets, desktops, laptops, any internet connection I have, I can effectively use this tool now. But I've also got our mass mail set up. Like I was saying earlier, we might want to send out 100,000 emails, and we're going to want to go through a reputable server, yet we want to stay continuous with our brand. So we'll send out via this, through this, so that we actually have that capacity of mass mail. But these people are protecting their servers, so we've got to be very conscious of the content that we're actually starting to send out. But again, that's a separate message. So look, moving into more of a technical area, your current web provider or email support person or company, or who you might use, would actually start to look into allowing your domain to be able to send out from what I'll call this IP address. Now this IP address is your management system, your mass mail system, and it has, I'll just call it your app.biz is now allowed and verified to actually send email out. So technically we start going in here, we set up all the email configuration, we make sure all of these ports are right, and we actually have to say in the background, yes, this is right. When we've set this up correctly, we can test the connection, and that's fine for the system because it actually is set up correctly. But that does not mean, again, that does not mean that your emails will get through unless you're worked in with your technical partners here, or you clearly understand DNS yourself. Alrighty, I'll hope that gives you a bit more insight. Again, if this is too technical for your understanding and you need that technical support, either we can help you here, or you can contact your email provider or hosting person, support person there. To your success from Anthony, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.